It's the perfect combination. A little more inventory mixed with improving interest rates leads to an almost 5% increase in signed contracts. But the media is still describing the housing market as an impossible mess. Is that fake news? Plus, everyone will be talking about the jobs report this weekend, so I'll make sure you're up to speed. Housing affordability is at its worst level in almost 40 years. But more inventory and better interest rates definitely puts buyers in a better situation. Even sellers, as we've talked about before. So why does the media keep telling everyone not to buy? Bloomberg had a headline this week, and I'm not kidding, guys. This was written out, spelled out in nice, big, loud letters. Starter home prices top $1 million. It's going to make people feel great. Here is my opinion, which you're going to get a lot of today. The reality is, it's the media that's actually a mess. Do you remember when our parents trusted the news? In our household, I remember when the evening anchor was part of our family, in a way. We listened to the actual facts he shared. Let alone trustworthy, the lack of balanced news today is a huge part of the unrest in our country. Maybe the biggest part. I won't get on a soapbox about all the hot button issues. I'll stay in my lane with real estate because it's a big enough problem on its own, right? We already know that major corporations back the media, many of which are a part of portfolios that are acquiring real estate at an extremely fast pace right now. BlackRock, for instance, is setting aside a larger percentage of their fund than ever before to acquire real estate. Word on the street is that by 2030, 60% of the single-family housing in our country will be owned by them. Isn't it weird that they would try to scare viewers, the majority of America, away from buying real estate while their investors buy real estate? We also know that real estate investing is a powerful tool to achieve financial freedom. It's accessible to anybody who can make a small investment, minimum down payment, or in some cases, no investment with a zero down payment program. Then that person achieves financial stability, which leads to different decisions being made about jobs, families, and spending habits. They start building wealth in ways that renters aren't able to, and the trajectory of a homeowner's life is different. We also know the cost of waiting is real. Home values in Washoe County are expected to appreciate about 4.5% over the next 12 months. That varies based on zip code, and in some areas it's actually more. The media will start telling buyers to wait until the Fed cuts rates to buy a home, which is problematic because of a remarkably simple and very real problem we have with housing: supply and demand. After 12 months, we're forecasting appreciation rates will double. Then it really gains speed, and 5 years from now, based on the data that we have, the forecasted rate of appreciation in northern Nevada is over 20% year over year. Let's just look at a house in the Northwest and say it's priced at $500,000, and pretend we have a buyer who's putting 5% down. If they heed the headlines and wait to buy until interest rates are 5.6, 5.5, that home is likely to go up in price at least $11,000. And that's just the starting price, right? Because there'll be more buyers then who will drive up that price in a bidding war. If they wait a year, they miss out on almost $25,000 in appreciation gains, potentially more if we have bidding wars. According to Keeping Current Matters, the average home in the United States is likely to increase in value $83,000 over just the next 5 years. Remember, home values going up is only a problem when you're on one side. When you own that home values going up is great news. We're going to get real about these numbers and break them down because I'm sure you guys want to know where all my data comes from and how the math is lining up. So we're going to go over the genuine cost of waiting, the potential to get a better interest rate, and what it would mean for your bottom line over the next 6 to 24 months on Property Pursuits next week, our live webinar that's later released as a podcast. I'd love for you guys to join us live because we're also doing a really fun giveaway. So the link will be below this video in this same email. Now, Fed meeting week. I can't let you guys out of here without talking about some of the most recent economic news. It's Fed announcement week. Powell was finally, personally quoted saying an interest rate cut is on the horizon. I know a lot of people posted at the end of last year that the Fed had promised 4 rate cuts this year. And that really was fake news because officials had said no such thing. This week, the words fell directly from his lips that if confidence in inflation continues and risks to the labor market continue, a reduction in our policy rate could be on the table as soon as the next meeting in September. And that is a direct quote. He said it. Then the jobs report came out to make our Friday. Now again, I know you guys think that I'm very cynical when I'm happy about bad news, but I actually think it's good for our country when the data reflects what's actually happening, what people are really feeling. So, jobs report came out this morning at 5:30 a.m. I got my Wall Street Journal ping that 114,000 jobs were added. For reference, we were expecting 175 to 185. And the unemployment rate ticked up to 4.3%. That is a very important number. I went over it previously and broke it down in a whole blog post. So if you missed it, go back and watch or read. Here's the thing. We have been really focused on inflation. But when we remember the Fed's dual mandate, it becomes clear that employment numbers are going to be what actually drives a Fed rate cut. Powell wants a soft landing. He's been promising that to everybody. And there is no chance of a soft landing if we enter a job loss recession. So, in my opinion, again, he will not let the labor market break. Bets are now, after today's numbers, that we will see a bigger rate cut in September, 50 basis points instead of 25. So what does that mean for buyers and sellers today? We're likely going to see intense activity towards the end of this year. And I chose the word intense really carefully. I don't mean more or less sales. I mean intense, as in high pressure. Buyers who are aggressive in their plans to not be left behind again, and sellers who have to sell, either in order to buy, or before the end of the year, or because of debt. While there isn't much logic to it, I do also get the sense that some people are going to hang tight until after the election, regardless of rate cuts. So that is definitely an opportunity for those of us who understand that we will wake up to the same reality on November 6th that we did on November 4th.